that she would like to be part of the group, and now she gets to be. So it's kind of cool.
Where does she live?
In the greater Chicagoland area. So she's kind of, yeah. And
she should join with her glass of wine.
She should. I'll have to tell her. But, okay, we can go ahead and get started. Oh, look at Andrea's got her her
nice.
dirty glass. Yeah.
There you
go. Okay, so we're gonna get started. We're gonna talk about hydration, and I think that, do we have anybody new on who wasn't on in the past?
Well, this is my first one.
Yay.
Yay. I thought I better get in on one.
This is my first Zoom meeting.
All right, good.
Like ever in your life or for this group?
Jackie, is it just your first time in this group?
No, for the Zoom meeting. I don't know what you meant. No, this is my third year in the group.
All right.
Well, brace yourself, because what I come at you with is intense and it's must-see TV.
All right, I gotta send somebody else the email so they can join. But let's talk about hydration really quick, in the sense that I think we have pretty much people who've been in the group who know that hydration is important. I think the big thing though this year is just going to be that water, I'm guessing from what I could tell from the Cuyahoga Valley National site, that I'm not sure they're going to be turning the drinking fountains on. Do you guys have any idea? Vince, do you know?
It doesn't appear that way. And also, you know, the bathrooms have mostly been closed and replaced with porta potties and that kind of, so it seems like they're really going to bare minimum.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I was just at break yesterday and the bathrooms are totally closed off.
Yeah, and there's not even any running water there.
No.
So that gives more, you know, of a need to really carry fluids with you, or to have an idea or thought process for carrying fluid on you. And I think you guys all know, right? We should all be drinking water, and after an hour, you should be consuming some type of sports drink so that you get your electrolytes. And the last thing that you want to do is overhydrate and have too much water in your system, and then have hyponatremia, where you've lost those electrolytes, that sodium, and then you can have problems. So there's that problem of too much water or not enough water. And those signs and symptoms can kind of look the same. But I think you guys are mostly all familiar with that. So we'll just let Vince start to tell us about different systems.
Okay, so
Can I make one recommendation? Just real quickly. Who is the owner of the Zoom call?
Jeff.
Jeff, can you mute everyone? And then anybody on this call, if you are on a laptop, you can just hit your space bar to talk.
It's in the email.
It cuts out the background noise.
Okay, so can you help me? Where do mute everyone? Is it just under mute all? Yeah.
That would be it.
Okay.
Then you should see like a nice big red there. They're all muted. And now anytime anybody wants to talk, just hit your space bar and then you can talk.
Okay. I still didn't get it, but I'll work on it.
oh, looks like you got it.
All right, Vince, go.
So I'm not muted anymore?
No.
Okay. So, you know, I thought I would start with some of the basics as far as hydration is concerned. And, you know, on those runs that maybe aren't as long, I brought a handheld. So this particular handheld has 18 fluid ounces and a nice big storage pocket where you could put gels, shoes, and pretty much anything you would want in there. Also, most size phones should also fit in there as well. This particular handheld has this backing here. So as your hand starts to get sweaty, or because this is an insulated bottle, it protects your hand so it doesn't get slippery or cold. And then also you can, sorry, I'm trying to figure out the positioning of the camera. You slide your thumb through there and it really helps hold the bottle in place. So you don't really have to even grip it. So you can keep your hand open. And then this particular one has the pucker valve. So you don't even have to undo a lid or anything. So it just kind of.
I think I actually have that one from you, and I didn't know that's where my thumb went.
Yep. So you just feed your thumb up through that hole, and then you don't have to worry about holding onto the bottle. And then there's an adjustment tab here too that you can pull down so that you can make this tighter on your hand. One thing about this particular handheld unit is you have to use this kind of bottle because it doesn't just hold a generic water bottle. So these retail at $37, and it's a nice kind of entry into carrying hydration with you, and something as the temperatures, you know, aren't as hot, you can use something like this and it can get you by. This is a hard bottle. So, you know, your traditional hard plastic bottle. And then there are handhelds that would also be collapsible bottles. So this is almost, if anybody's familiar with a bladder that's inside of a hydration pack, this material is that same kind of construction. It's basically, you know, in a smaller form inside the holster. So this can collapse down, and this is about 18 fluid ounces as well. And it still has the pocket on the holster, and this one has some different positioning to be able to hold it. So you can, you know, hold it long ways, you can hold it kind of horizontally, or you could even hold it vertically. So these have become more and more popular because as you know, get later in the run, if you felt like your hand was tired or you didn't want to carry the bottle anymore, you could always tuck this in your waistband. So so handhelds have been around a long time. It's kind of my preferred 2 hour or less method of hydration, and also being able to carry stuff with you. So that's that component of hydration. The waist belts, we've seen kind of a movement away from those just because they tend to bounce. Positioning wise, it's hard to figure out where to put them on your waist. And, you know, the distribution of liquids on your waist too can cause some bouncing. So although more expensive, we've seen more and more people, including myself, moving to the hydration vest. And I'll do my best to, you know, display all the characteristics on this, but you've got those collapsible bottles and they sit on the front. And this particular one has a hose. So you could drink right out of it without taking it out of the holster. It's got storage pockets on the front. And you'll find this on most hydration packs, but the sternum straps will actually slide up and down so that you can change the positioning across the front part of your body. So if you want them higher, lower, if you don't want them as tight in a certain area, they're adjustable. So that's a nice way to get some, you know, adjustability on the fit. And then pockets all over the place. So, you know, as far as storage is concerned, cell phone, nutrition, hydration, the ability to add a bladder, you know, it doesn't come with it, but you could always add it at a later date. And then on the back, you know, Brenda talking about access to resources along your routes, a giant pocket on the back too. So more and more people are moving to vest. They do range anywhere from $130 to $170. So they're a little more expensive, but they'll last for a long time too. Like the Solomon vest that I run with is probably 5 years old. So any questions on those two types of methods of carrying hydration?
Do those get hot? Like
These, no,
when you're wearing it?
no, easy to wear with the tank top. They're perforated, so I don't know if I hold it up close, if you can see the perforation in the fabric. So super breathable, and then even on the back part of it, it's also perforated. So very breathable. People run 100-mile races with these packs on, with no chafing, with no overheating. And that's the thing about these packs, is their intended purpose is to give you comfort and to be out there an extremely long time. So, I mean, sometimes I'll even just wear a pack, not carry the bottles, and just carry my cell phone with me, strictly just to carry cell phone. And I find it to be comfortable and not even noticing that it's there. So, and like I said, you know, the front bottle capability, and then the opportunity to add a bladder at a future point, you can do that too. So, I would say, like, you would wash it every once in a while, but more times than not, you just take it home, line dry it, and let it kind of air out naturally. So, any other questions on those, guys? It's weird everybody's silent now. so-
Comment, I have a vest and I really do like it, and I don't feel, it's not hot at all. It works really well. I don't like those bottles, so I actually just put my own bottles in.
Yep, you can do that too.
Yeah, which is really nice.
Yep. I mean, these particular bottles, I think a lot of times what happens is people don't realize there's a tuck space for them in the shoulder strap. Otherwise, you end up kind of like an insect with flopping antennae, you know.
My problem is I
driving-
like to chug, so I can't really get enough out of it.
Yeah, so,
But it's really nice. It's convenient. You can just put whatever you want in
yeah.
those pockets.
And if you wanted to, the other nice thing is if you didn't want to put a bladder in here, but these bottles drive you crazy, you could always utilize these bottles by putting them in the actual back pocket and just carrying more fluids with you that way. We
It
went
can-
for, oh, go ahead.
My only other advice is if you are a trail runner and it's 90 degrees outside, you can just put ice in the bladder and
Yep.
have a cooler on your back, essentially. And I
Yeah,
have gotten away with that one.
I freeze one of my bottles and I put it in the back, and then I get it out later when it's a hot day.
Yeah, we went
So
for a family hike on Sunday, and instead of putting a bladder in the pack, I just took a traditional water bottle, filled it up, and stood it straight up in the back, and that's how we carried our water for our hike on Sunday. So, very versatile. Like I said, they last a long time. The initial investment could be a bit of a sticker shock, but the way that they perform and the durability is well worth it.
Jody, you have that vest, but you also have the same belt that I have been using.
Yes.
How do you compare those two? Because that belt works pretty well. That
I
particular.
like my belt too, so I switch back and forth, just depending, like, especially in the winter, I like the belt better personally, because if I have a jacket on, I don't like the vest over my jacket, but I'll switch back and forth. But both I find the belt still pretty comfortable,
Yeah.
as long as you get the fit right.
Yeah, it's just the way we've seen things trending is moving away from the waist carrying into the vest. And then also, you know, for anybody who needs to carry something additionally, if they are using a handheld, you could always put a spy belt on. Is everybody familiar with the spy belt? It's basically a modern day fanny pack that you could fit probably 10 or 15 gels into, or a phone, or gels and a phone. And it's very comfortable, and it sits on your waist and doesn't bounce around.
I think the belt may be a preference based on the shape of your body. Actually, I cannot wear belts at all. They bounce around horribly, no matter how I try to strap them down. The vest works, the handheld works, but I have passed my belts on to other people who are grateful to have them, because for them the belt does work. So it's really, like, I think a matter of personal preference.
Yep. Yeah,
So
there's
is-
no wrong way of hydrating. I mean, I've seen people carrying fluids in, you know, a variety of different ways, and it doesn't always have to be with the vest or with a handheld. It's really your personal comfort levels. I just know for myself, the handheld and the vest are the most comfortable and most efficient.
So Vince, when people come back in the store and maybe they've bought a vest, but now they want to buy a different vest, like what are people complaining about with the vest? Like what is it that makes it, because it is a big investment. So what is it that people really need to think about?
I mean, you really want to try it on in the store. And, before COVID-19, we would actually, fill the bottles up for people and let them see what it feels like when it's full. Those touch points, I don't know how that's going to operate in the future, but, if somebody had a negative experience with a vest after running with it, we would swap it out. I mean, most of these companies aren't that stringent when it comes to working with us, when it comes to returns. And I would hate for somebody to spend $150 on a pack and not be able to use it. So I would say the risk is pretty low.
Did people complain about, like, if you do wear a tank top that it cuts into your skin and they have to wear Band-Aids, or is there anything like that?
We honestly don't get many complaints about the vests at all. I mean, we're really specific on the ones we carry at the store to make sure that if we're selling it, that it would be one of the ones that we would wear ourselves personally. So we're not really experimenting with the styles. We're carrying the stuff that we say when you come in. Yes, you can put this on. Yes, it won't chafe you. Yes, you can be confident to go do 20 miles in this right away.
I'm very surprised it doesn't chafe at all. They work really well for that. My only problem, and it's feature things, is I have a problem because my phone doesn't fit in the front pockets. So I have to, Brenda knows this. I have to put the phone in my back pocket, and then I have to have somebody get it out for me when my phone rings.
Yeah, you could always, you could add on a spy belt.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Yep.
I do
and just
that.
carry
Yep.
your phone in your spy belt.
Yep.
Because the other thing is that the pockets on these are not waterproof. So if you sweat or if it starts to rain, your phone is not protected. So you really want to make sure that you're doing your best to protect that too. So
how easy are the bladders harder to clean?
no, a lot of them, and I could go grab an example of my own, but the new bladders have a slider on the top, and you can actually get your whole hand inside the bladder to clean it out.
Okay.
So they've really changed the design of the old ones where it was kind of like a screw cap.
Yeah.
Where you had to let it soak in the sink or use, a vinegar concoction sorry, my kid's knocking on the door, but now it's very easy to clean and easy to go about, making sure that you're protecting that bladder as well.
How do you clean the tubes? I've been struggling with that.
So you want to take it off of the bladder itself, and then that is something you probably either want to soak or pass through, the old siphoning gas trick, and just kind of, blow out that mildewy type substance that can get stuck in there.
Are the tubes replaceable? I mean,
They are.
like
Yep.
in parts?
Yep, you can buy all the components. You could buy a new bladder, you could buy the tube itself, you could buy the bite valve, all that kind of stuff we don't stock a lot of it just because the models tend to change, but we can always special order it.
And so I use those Solomons, and they have like a little cap that pulls out of that tube, and you can really clean it because that can
Yep.
get pretty disgusting. And that's the one I found Andrea, that really cleans up. And I think I just want to comment, I know Jody's real problem is she just doesn't have enough pockets to carry the extra watches that she isn't wearing.
Oh,
She usually carries, here she has 3 or 4 on her arms. And then I understand she carries extras with her just in case the batteries go bad.
smart. Failure to plan is planning to fail. So, but you can, May 12th, you'll be allowed to come back in our store and shop normal, semi-normal, and because all of our staff will have masks on. But you'll be able to try these on and really get a glimpse as to what you want to purchase and what you want to make an investment in. So, but those are the two routes that we see most people going to. So, any other questions on the gear component before I move on to like supplements or the hydration stuff, like powders and that kind of stuff?
I guess I would just have a question for the PT, which is there any recommendation in terms of weight on your hands, on your hips, or over your back?
Oh, I mean, that's a good question. I know there used to be studies about kids with backpacks and scoliosis and stuff like that. I mean, I think because you've got it across both shoulders and you've got weight in there, it's close to your body, so it shouldn't be that big of a problem. I guess if you're having a back problem or a neck problem, you might want to redistribute the weight so it's more even. But in general, I think that it should be fine. I know I'm bad with the handheld because I can only hold it in my right hand. And I'm just right hand dominant, I guess. I can only put my purse on my right shoulder. So I have all these problems. And you know, I should be better at switching to the left. So I guess it comes down to whatever works for you, because this is the big thing is if we're going to be out there for a run and you need to carry fluids with you, and if you're thinking like, oh, I'm going to swing past Station Road and use the drinking fountain and that's not open, you know, we got to be planning ahead for some of these things, and whatever that looks like is how it's got to look for you. And if it means that you've got you know, your vest on and a belt, like whatever you need to do to make it work, you know, it's got to be what's right for you.
Hey, Vince,
Yes.
I know you say you don't wash your vests, that's you, but are there some vests that you can throw in the washing machine every time and let air dry?
You can. It's not necessary to wash them every time. In all honesty,
Okay.
there's some antibacterial, you know, properties to these that allow them not to hold scent.
Okay.
If I probably would not put them through the washing machine, I would do more of like a hand wash.
Okay.
And just protecting the fabrics that they're made out of and that kind of stuff.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
So Joe, if nobody's running with you, nobody's going to know how bad you smell, so it'll be fine.
I was looking for a study. There was a study a couple years ago about carrying a hydration pack versus a handheld. I was trying to do a quick Google search. I couldn't find it, but it proved that carrying, you know, the water where your core is stronger, definite and more equally distributed, definitely saves you over the miles.
Well, anytime you can have something close to your body instead of holding it farther away, it's less on your spine. So when you think about, if you like the first one that you showed, Vince, and you could put your phone in there, that's a lot of weight if you have fluid and your phone. And so that's where you have to really start to think about, is it worth having that all on your hand versus getting a spy belt so you can maybe put your phone closer to your body, and then thinking about just how you do with carrying things. So like the idea of those Solomon ones where you could roll them up and stick them someplace else. So then you could go from carrying something to not having to carry something. That could be important too.
Yeah, and this is something also, the Solomon, that you could carry in your pack and, you know, have it in there as a additional option for more fluid if it's hot out, you know, and you start to realize you're going through more fluids. So anything else on the gear component? No? And even though I say they don't chafe, usually I do recommend, you know, you take your squirrel's nut butter or your Body Glide, and any of those high abrasion zones, you would still protect yourself by putting some of that on your skin just to make sure. I mean, stuff starts to move around as you're out there. Maybe the shirt you have on in conjunction with the pack don't like one another. So better to be safe than sorry.
And Vince, I might add that, you know, when people come into the store, it's good for someone to help fit you for it.
Yep.
Because I got one that was smaller than I would have bought myself.
Yep.
because it then doesn't move around a lot for safety
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah, we'll make sure, when you get it on that it fits right and that it's looking like it's not going to bounce around and be too big on you or too small. Yep. Anything else with regards to those? And if you think of something later on and you need to, bring it back up, that's no big deal either. But something, that we tend to do a lot with, especially as it starts getting warmer out, are the electrolyte pills. This particular brand, Salt Stick, has become our #1 brand. And they also make a chewable form. Show of hands, who's used the chewable ones versus so some people are not a fan of, taking a capsule. Although these capsules are a little more concentrated. So they have 215 milligrams of sodium and 63 milligrams of potassium. So basically you're using these to supplement the fact that you probably can't drink enough fluids while you're out there without giving yourself kind of like that sloshy feeling in your stomach. So supplementing these salt tabs really make a big difference. And different brands have different recommendations for the serving per hour. But, also if you did start to cramp, you could also utilize these as kind of like a rescue. So they can save you towards the later part of the run. Sometimes people will finish a run covered in salt. Anybody ever have that before? Yeah. So chances are, you are in a state of dehydration and you needed to drink more fluids and then also get more electrolytes. And as Brenda was saying earlier, you also have to watch for overhydration. So these really help, keep a steady level of electrolytes and in a way where you don't feel like you're having to pound fluids. These come in like single packets, or the bottles have 100 capsules in them. And the, let's see what the expiration date is on these. I know it's usually like 2 or 3 years. So if you did buy these, you could always split them amongst other people. You could leave them in your cabinet. They don't go bad like overnight, and they're definitely something you can use. And sometimes I'll even find myself taking one before the run if it's hot out as like an extra measure of protection.
Vince, I feel like the chewable ones you have to eat a lot of them, don't you?
Typically it's so they're about the size of like a Tums.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have to eat 3 of those to equal 1 pill.
But they're delicious.
They are. They're tart. And
they're my favorite.
Well, I nearly had to do the Heimlich on Terry one time in the middle of a marathon. So she then got better at swallowing pills. But now that the chewables are an option, that's good. You just have to carry a lot on you. That's the big thing.
And you also have to watch, if the chewables, once you open that packet, if they get wet, they become really sticky and they can start to dissolve. The capsule on these is a little more protective. And in dire situations, which I don't recommend unless you're really suffering, you can actually bite these capsules open in your mouth because of all the blood vessels. And this rush of electrolytes goes right into your bloodstream fast, but it is disgusting because all this powder is in your mouth that's in these capsules. But as a absolute last resort, you could always do that. But I would say 1 per hour, every hour on a long run of 2 or 3 hours or longer. Any questions on these?
The candy ones are the best.
They are. Yeah, the candy ones come in orange, lemon, lime, watermelon, peach. So there's a lot of good flavors of those too.
Are there any side effects of those?
Baldness. No, there's nothing you have to worry about with.
I can only say the only thing when I've taken too many electrolytes, for in anticipation of a marathon or an ultra, you can be like hopped up afterwards. You just can't relax because you're like, I still have more electrolytes in
Well,
me. That's about the worst side effect I've ever
and
had.
that's something I should mention. This brand also makes a plus, and those are caffeinated. So you have to watch, because if you buy the plus and you take 2 or 3 of those, it could be like 2 or 3 cups of coffee. So Andrea, I wonder if that's what,
Who knows?
yeah, so. Anything else with regards to pharmaceuticals? No? All right. So we can move on to my favorite sports drink, and I don't know if anybody's used it here, but Scratch. Tailwind is another great hydration drink, and we sell a lot of that too. The Scratch isn't as concentrated, so it's not as strong, and it's all natural ingredients. So this particular one is fruit punch. And if I'm looking at the back of the package, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 10 ingredients. So look at the back of a Gatorade. It's a lot more than that. And the sugar content per serving is 19 grams, but that's coming from cane sugar and dextrose. And then they're also using real fruit. So pineapple, passion fruit, tangerine. By far my favorite sports drink that we carry at the store. And, you know, it goes a long way. You can use the individual packets, or you can buy the large bag. The large bag has 20 servings, and it retails for $21.
So I have a question about this in combination with hydration and carrying fluids. Again, we're talking about the water fountains are closed down, but there was a school of thought of just carrying the powder with you and then filling up at wherever you can get water in your water bottle. Is there recommendations for how to portion out the powder and carry it once water fountains are up and running again?
Well, 1 scoop is 80 calories. So if you think about it, if I make a 16-ounce bottle of Scratch, typically I'm putting 2 scoops in there. So 160 calories. And that would be in conjunction with gels, which I'll talk about here in a second. But, you know, so you could, you know, they're saying 1 full scoop for 12 to 16 ounces, scoop and a half for 24. I like to concentrate mine a little bit, and then you could always add water to it. But that's how you would kind of ration it out. And probably the easiest way to do that would just be carry the single servings and add a packet to your bottle or your hydration pack, you know, as needed. But I know a little goes a long way with this stuff, because there is, let me see, 39 milligrams of potassium. So the focus on this isn't so much, you know, the same kind of things that would be in the electrolyte pills, but there's also 380 milligrams of sodium. So for somebody who sweats a lot or hot conditions, Scratch is the way to go.
When I use my big bag of Scratch, I actually went and got, like, at a craft store, the little mini baggies for, like, people use for like beads and such when they do crafts. I actually use those for my salt tabs, and then I use the other bags and I portion out Scratch, and that's how I take it, because it's, you know, then I can throw it away in the garbage can whenever so.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the ability to carry stuff with you and make sure that what you're getting is exactly what you need is important. And it's a learning curve too. It's not something you just know right away. So, you know, I would say err on the side of safety and carry more with you. And worst comes worst, when you get done with your run, if it's left over, you just put it back in the pantry or the cupboard and save it for next time.
The key too is to make sure you're planning ahead, because if you're thinking like, I'll fill it up with Scratch or whatever now, and then I'll just keep adding water, you're not really helping yourself. So you got to make sure that you have all those electrolytes and the sugar in there that's giving you the energy and things like that. So it's all that planning ahead piece.
Yep.
It's going to make things a little bit more challenging this year.
I mean, and Tailwind is really good too. So there's nothing wrong with Tailwind. It's just I found I'm kind of using my personal preferences in this situation just because, you know, I'm speaking to more of like a candid audience. And I think if you come in and you know exactly what you're looking for, that's going to help you when you go out and start buying your supplies.
And Vince, doesn't it come in smaller packets so that they can
Yeah.
test the different flavors before buying a big bag?
It comes in single servings as well.
Mm-hmm.
I brought this home because it's mine. It's not going back to the store. So
Vince, is there anything out there that's like organic? I mean, that's natural, right?
yeah.
Or plant-based. I mean, I know some of it is plant-based and I use some of that, but is any of it organic?
Let's see. Kosher, vegan, gluten-free, non-GMO. I mean, it
hope
doesn't
there's
say
no-
organic, but
Okay. I hope
mean,
there's no gluten in there.
it's as granola as you can get, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I don't want to be putting questionable things into my system either. The founder of this company is a doctor, and if you watch his videos, he's all science based. I mean, he was a former professional cyclist. He is not messing around when it comes to his products, and you can trust when you use it that you're putting good stuff in your body.
Thanks.
Yep.
If you're going out for a longer run, are you filling up your hydration vest with Scratch right from the start? Or are you putting water in there at first and then adding powder to it later?
I always feel like if I had 2 bottles, I would have one of hydration mix, so sports drink, and one of water. And that just helps also as we move into like talking about taking gels. I like plain water as a complement to gels instead of trying to take them with sports drink. So I like to have options and not necessarily make both in a hydration mix. And then you could always make that water into a hydration mix as well. So yeah, that's the thing. If you have a bladder pack on, you got to kind of make that decision right away. And that's why we see very few people running with the bladder. More times than not, it's the front bottles anymore.
And I think what we used to like about the belts was that it gave people the opportunity to have a variety.
Yep.
So if you had the belt with 4 bottles, you could fill half with sports drink and half with water. And I think as your body is getting used to taking in gels and taking in, you know, whatever you're going to eat, Jeff eats real food, so dates and who knows what else he's eating. You want to have a variety of beverages basically to kind of take that with. So that's what's hard when you only have a handheld and you only have one option. But I do like with the vest that you would have that ability to have water or sports drink, because I think it just gives you that option when you start to feel like you're thirsty, but you know, the sports drink isn't going to cut it, then you at least have water with you.
And before there were vests, I used to carry 2 handhelds, 1 water, 1 sports drink. So, I mean, and it kind of equals the balance between, you know, both sides of your body. So there's nothing to say that you couldn't carry two handhelds. So.
Okay, so I want to give you another pitch, and I found it on my phone, and I don't know if you can see it. We use a Berkey filter in my house. So all the water in my house goes through a filter, like a big filter, but they also make a Berkey sports bottle, which would fit in a vest. And it has a built-in filter, and literally you could take water out of, I can't even believe I'd say this, the Cuyahoga, and put it through the filter and use it 160 times, and the water would be filtered. So there's a part of me that thinks if this thing ever gets back online, because some of it's been sold out, including this, I'm going to buy one of those and just carry it just in case I'm so desperate.
Jeff,
Yeah.
you need it. You need that, Jeff. You don't have it and you have pretty much everything, so you need it.
I know I do.
I mean, backpackers would use iodine tablets, but I don't know if you ever drank water with iodine in it. It's not that great.
Well, these
And
filters are amazing.
Yep.
And the filtered water that we have in our house is amazing. We got rid of all plastic bottles, and we actually have 2 Berkeys now because my son's home from college. So we have a Berkey, you know, in 2 sections of our kitchen, just in case you don't want to walk too far.
and I in 2001 I ran the winter Buckeye Trail 50K, and it was unseasonably warm. And I was stubborn at the Snowville aid station. It was when it was still an out and back course. And I said, oh, don't fill my bottles. It's only 5 miles to the finish, which if anybody's ever run the Buckeye Trail from Snowville Road to Oak Grove, I mean, that's not just a regular 5 miles. So I started drinking out of the streams, and that was a long night. That was a long night of lots of discomfort. And I would say, yes, buy the filter bottle, but do not resort to drinking it plain. And that was years ago when there wasn't as much toxicity in the water as today. So just FYI. All right, we ready to move on to gels? All right, my new favorite, and I don't know if anybody's used them yet, but the Spring Energy gels. Everybody familiar with these? Absolutely delicious. They are made from basmati rice. So the nice thing about these is I take mine without water, and you just eat it as real food. This particular one, this Hill Aid, has caffeine in it, and that's it also has sea salt. Going through the ingredients here: organic banana, honey, coconut, orange juice, coconut oil, vitamin C. So a really clean source of fuel, and 30 milligrams of caffeine, and it's called Icy Mango. So a gel new to our store last year, and if anybody hasn't tried these, super easy on the stomach, won't upset your stomach, and tasty, and basically, you know, going more towards that real food. So show of hands that anybody tried these yet?
They're
Like
my
'em?
favorite. Yep, they're really good.
Who was that?
They're really good.
Okay, yeah, they're
Yeah, I like
delicious.
them. Yeah.
I think you gave me like a chocolate one. You gave me a bunch of them when I got my shoes,
Yep.
and I had it after I had run about 13 miles, and I'm just kind of used to eating whatever. And I was like, holy crap, this is really tasty. Like
Yeah,
it's
the
actually
chocolate one's like
enjoyable.
pudding. Yeah,
It's like enjoyable, and it had a little hazelnut in it. It was good.
yeah. And they also have this crazy strawberry flavor.
That one's good.
Yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with these. And like I said, you can tear it open if you're out of water. You don't have to worry about that. So definitely, you know, people who have sensitive stomachs, or if you're looking to move on from, you know, kind of the same old flavors of goo or hammer, I would suggest trying some of these out. And then the other cool thing, you know, sea salt in this one as well. So you are getting some level of electrolytes. And then,
I shared
look at that.
There you go. There are all the flavors. Can you ID them?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Well, the names are on the packages.
Oh, wow.
So that electro ride, if you go back to that, Jeff. That one. So that is a sports drink in a gel packet. So you take that and you squeeze it in your water bottle to make electrolyte drink. And they don't do a good job of describing the flavors on the front of the packaging, but that one is like a apple ginger, and it's really tasty. And once again, it's something you could carry with you. that's not powder based. So, you know, the other thing is they make a lot of their products for ultra marathoners. So some of these gels have more calorie dense, you know, levels. But the long haul is peanut butter. It's okay. The Power Rush is really good. The Hill 8 is really good. And then there's the one of the chocolate ones.
Is that Mech Recovery? MC Recovery?
McCray, it's a sponsored athlete.
Oh,
Yeah. I believe Sally McCray. She's an ultra marathoner.
I don't see the speed net up there.
Yeah, the speed's not up there.
That's
And
a-
also the Canterbury's missing. So
well, let's just say I'm in a rush. Like I didn't know he was going to bring this up.
I mean, we could have planned this better, and then you could have just been my assistant.
Your wingman.
Yeah. Next, like Amy Acton, next slide, please. So, so the Huma, everybody use the Huma. Love these two chia seeds. This is the plus, so it's got the electrolytes in it. This particular flavor is my favorite, strawberry lemonade, but can't go wrong with any of their gels too. So once again, moving more towards that real food resource of calories. Any questions on gels? No? So Spring Energy and Huma by far two most popular for me personally. And then everybody's probably used a Cliff Block or Chews before, Honey Stinger Chews. Well, Scratch makes Chews and they are awesome.
Are they as delicious as the Honey Stinger ones?
Better.
I mean, they taste like candy.
Yeah, they're better.
They're
These-
better?
Yeah. Do you remember Orange Slices, the candy with like
Oh.
that sugar coating on them?
I remember orange slices, the real food.
No, like the sprinkled sugar. These have like a crystallized little coating to them. Look, yep. They are awesome.
Oh, they do look delicious.
Yeah.
They're really good. They're my favorite.
They don't get stuck in your teeth like the Honey Stinger or some of the other brands. And with these, you can kind of pop them in your mouth, let them dissolve a little bit, and then, you know, chew them and easy on the stomach. The other thing is I find myself using these a lot when I'm running later in the day and I don't want to eat before I'm getting too close to running. And I'll use the chews as an option for calories that I know will be easily digested, a good source of energy, and something that, you know, won't kind of upset my stomach as I'm out there.
Do you sell these vents and like individual packs or in 10 packs or?
So they come in a box. We sell them individually, and you know, they come in a box like that, but you know, you don't have to buy the whole box. Once again, like Brenda was saying before, you can experiment with the different flavors. The matcha green tea, what you would think, if anybody's ever had a hot matcha green tea latte, they are phenomenal. Get it unsweetened and then add honey. And then also with almond milk. Then you'd be like, well, I've had that at the coffee shop. How would that be good on a long run? But they're delicious and they have caffeine in them. So, you know, towards the end of a run, or if you need a little pick me up, you can use those caffeinated ones. Any questions on the Chewies? No? Adult fruit snacks, basically, you know. And then the last thing I have for tonight is, you know.
I have one question.
Oh.
So compared to, so I always use those Cliff Blocks.
Yep.
And it was like 3 every hour. I don't know. So how does that compare with those Scratch Chews? Do you have to have that whole packet every hour? What?
There's 140 calories in here. So 5 pieces is a serving. So, you know, I would suggest maybe one every 15 minutes, you know, and just trickle it in.
One packet?
I
No,
eat half a
cube,
pack.
one cube.
There's
Oh,
there's like 10, there's 10 in a
Yeah.
pack. So I eat like half, I do it like half. What if instead of a gel, I'll do half a pack.
okay.
So I'll do
Yeah.
5 chews, and then the next time I would have done a gel, I'll do another 5. But if you want to do it in between, you can do it more you can do it more frequently, as Vince is saying.
So if I'm running for 2 hours, I could use 1 pack of those and ration them. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
In conjunction with probably a sports drink.
Okay.
Yeah, you would be fine. I think a lot of times people, you know, the old rule of thumb, if you were doing like a long distance ultra, was 350 calories per hour. Well, you don't need that kind of input for half marathons and marathons. I mean, you know, most of these gels say to take one every 30 to 45 minutes.
Right.
And some people can find comfort in doing 45 minutes to an hour. So, but you don't want to miss the thing that happens is you start talking and you forget to take it. So you really got to set out with a plan to say, okay, when I'm out there, either it's mileage or time, I can't miss taking these at the right time because I'm going to bonk. So it'd be better to take it sooner than be too late with it. So, you know, start setting those standards of when you're going to implement these. And what I find myself doing is even on a run that is, let's say, an hour, 15 minutes, if I know I'm coming off of like a lot of volume or I'm tired, I carry one of these. I don't carry fluids with me, but I carry one of these and I take it about 45 minutes in. Just because I know that taking one of these is better than what I'll experience that last half hour of that hour, 15-minute run. So.
Coach Leanne has a great system for her nutrition. Leanne?
I set my watch for 45 minutes. That's all. It just goes off every 45 minutes and I'm ready I alternate between like a gel at 45 minutes and then 45 minutes later, I have to do something else. I can't do gels the entire time. It does mess with my stomach, but maybe I'm just using the wrong gel. But yeah, just every 45 minutes, I tear one off my belt that I have safety pinned to it. And every 45 minutes, as soon as that thing goes off, something else needs to go in.
You know, and I'm showing you all the stuff that we saw at the store. There's nothing to say that you couldn't carry fig bars with you. There's nothing to say you couldn't carry peanut butter crack. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to get fuel into your body. And, you know, there's different comfort levels for people. Like Leanne was saying, at some point, you might just want to say, you know what, I've been out here for a while. I just want to feel like I'm eating some real food. So you might carry a fig bar with you. You might carry a peanut butter cracker. You might carry chocolate covered espresso beans, which are awesome. So, you know, it's a big learning curve. So, and I'm not here to tell you that everything that's going to work for you is necessarily something that you need to buy from our store. So.
Hey Vince, can we talk real quick about your store? So on the 12th, you can open back up.
Yeah, we're opening up and we'll have capacity limits as far as the amount of customers that we can have in the store. We did a lot of talking with the staff with regards to having customers a mandatory mask, and we will not require a mask. We just felt that it was a point of conflict, and you know, we are strongly going to suggest it and recommend it, but I didn't want to get caught up in the you know, components of, you know, how people want to go about, you know, conducting themselves in public. So Wednesdays, for people who aren't comfortable just going out and shopping, will be by appointment only. So we'll still have that, which we've been doing the past couple weeks, and it's worked really well. And we schedule those in 30-minute blocks. So we'll continue with that, and much more condensed hours, just so we can control the customer traffic in the store. So
I think that sounds like a great thing, so that if you were really interested in a vest or something like that, that knowing you could go, like Saturday mornings might, you know how busy it can get sometimes. So
Yep.
knowing that you could kind of schedule an appointment, or even for shoes or something.
Yep, and we'll also have an entry door at both stores and an exit. So people won't be leaving in Hudson, they'll be coming in the back door and exiting out the front. And in Brecksville, you'll come in through the side door and exit out the front. And then even within the store, you know, when we watch people walk to fit them, we'll have specific areas where people will do that for people.
Well, it sounds like you have a good plan. You know, everything is going to be different. And again, you know, my big thing is that we all need to be safe and do things so that we prevent getting this virus or spreading it to other people. So I think all those kind of initiatives are just what's really important to know, that we can still go shopping and do all the things that we used to do, just in a different way. Are you going to have Purell or anything, and make people, when they're trying on shoes, maybe wash their hands first? Or
so yeah, we have Purell and hand sanitizer all over the store.
Hey, where'd you get it?
Meyer. I mean, basically what I've told our staff is, if you're out and you see something, like, because the other thing we want to do is spray the shoes after somebody tries them on with Lysol, but you can't buy it you can't find it. So what we've been doing is leaving the shoes out overnight. So when somebody tries shoes on, we don't put them away right away. They stay out overnight, and then the next day we'll put them away. Yeah, I mean, people have, you know, voiced their opinion, and some of our staff included, about how they feel, how serious the situation is. And you know, I've told them that if you think about if you were sick and you gave it to one of your parents and they died from it, would you be willing to sacrifice your business to save one of your parents? And that's how I viewed this from day one, is that, you know, if it all ended terribly for Vertical Runner, but if I knew I was doing my part to make sure nobody got sick, then that was just how it had to be. And so that's been our philosophy from day one. And you know, it's been really hard because, you know, I live on a cul-de-sac here in Stowe, and people run past there's people that have never run a step in their life. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, I saw a guy running in jeans.
do you tell him he needs to come shopping?
No, because I almost got in a car accident. He was running down my street in jeans, and I thought he was just doing it to taunt me. But I mean, there's so many active people out there, and the one time where our store would flourish, we haven't been able to connect with them. That's been frustrating, but yeah, I think, you know, we're on to more positive paths here. And I think that I'm thankful for all the support we've had, and I look forward to being able to get people back in the store again.
How's your buff supply? Because
Oh, we're completely sold out.
Dang it, I can't get them anywhere. I came and got those 4, and now I need more.
Yeah. We ordered more, and the rep said they should arrive early June. Yeah.
I think that's why I want to talk about just kind of what your plan is, because I think that with the uncertainty, and there's just so many, you know, strange things out there, and we have to have a new normal. So just kind of knowing what that looks like. If you're thinking like, okay, I want to go to Vertical Runner, and am I going to touch all the gels and then, you know, put them all back, and how that works? And I guess knowing that you have hand sanitizer and, you know, all those things that are important.
You know, the one thing that we've told people, even during the times when we've been doing these appointments, is we're really taking the leap of faith that people leaving their house have have had a really solid understanding the magnitude of them coming into our store and shopping. And, you know, I guess you just have a level of faith and trust that people wouldn't be coming into your store if they were sick or were around somebody who was sick. And I can tell you not many people have been coming in the store. So, you know, even if we increased by 50%, we still wouldn't be anywhere near the normal customer traffic through the store.
So what are some of the other options that we could still do? Are you going to be still like whatever you're doing now, kind of like a curbside pickup kind of thing? Are you?
People could do that. It's really, you know, the comfort level of the customer, of the individual. So we'll adapt, you know, if somebody wanted to put a list together, and say, I want to pick this up, have it ready for me, we could do that. I mean, there's no limitations, as to how we can accommodate people to make sure they're feeling like, you know, what they're getting, they can bring into their home. You know, there's been a lot of, I know, like even from grocery shopping standpoint, people were encouraged to wipe down their groceries before bringing them in their house. And now that level of oversight has seemed to shrink in seeing how it actually, you know, how long it stays on those certain types of materials. And, you know, chances of it making it into your house from a can of chickpeas is very small.
I think we're going to see people become more and more lax. And some of the estimates that I've heard from work is just that we will have a second wave in August to September. So, you know, I just think it's really important that we realize that this is not going away. And just because we've been at home for a couple of weeks, that it's all going to get better. You know, my hospital still has a lot of really sick people. So I just want us all to think about that. You're thinking about it from the perspective of, okay, there's not a drinking fountain that I'm going to be able to go to, or a bathroom, or, you know, how am I going to do some of these basic things that I want to do because I want to accomplish my goals. And so, Vince, does that mean like if we knew we had a pair of shoes that we just kind of want the same shoe, could you still like ship it to us?
Yep.
That kind of thing.
I got a pair of shoes 2 days. I think I called the store, then they got it to my house in like 2 days. Same shoes I got last time, no problems with them. They're great.
Yeah. I mean, that's easy for us to do. So, you know, once again, it goes on an individual basis. We'll do whatever it takes to make the customer feel like they have the best option to be able to, you know, support our store and to do it in a safe manner. So
I did buy a pair of shoes from Vince, and I went to the Hudson store, and Carrie was there. Right, Carrie? It was so exciting to see each other. I'm like, I only see you on Zoom. And I took the shoes home, and while I love Vince, I still left them in the garage for a few days. I never brought the cardboard in. And then I tried them on, and they were great.
when this first started, my wife was making me stay in the garage for 2 days before coming back in the house. So
Can you honestly blame her?
So yeah, there's just a lot of fear out there, and I want us to all kind of be prepared for what the new reality looks like.
Yeah, it's scary, and you know, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to bring that illness into my house and get my kids sick. So, yeah, I think whatever we can do to make people feel, you know, comfortable and provide a safe shopping experience, we're willing to do.
Yeah, I don't know what, I think everybody probably got an email today, but I got an email today from the Akron Marathon that was a Survey Monkey that asked a bunch of questions. It seems like they're really thinking about, well, are we going to hold this event? And if we do, what does this look like? Like, would you be wearing, some of the questions were like, would you be willing to wear a mask? What do you think about aid stations? Like, would you drink the water? Like, I don't know.
I mean, as a race director, my philosophy has been, this is so much bigger than worrying about a race. Like, you know, be thankful for the extra time we've been given to train, you know, and the flexibility in our schedule. And, you know, and seize that opportunity. And worst comes worse, if there's not a race in the fall, you know, you carry that fitness into winter and you come into spring strong, you know, stronger and a better runner than ever before.
So that's why I want us to all prepare mentally and physically for the fact that there may not be a race and we may be doing a virtual race. And that means that you have planned your own route and you've been thinking about your fluids, you've been thinking about gels, you've been thinking about all that stuff that's just not going to be provided for you in a race. And, you know, I hate to sound like a Debbie Downer about some of this stuff, but it's like, it's so critical that we are not passing this illness on or giving it to like our parents or anybody who's vulnerable in society, because it just wreaks havoc on some people. So a race is really a great thing to do, but it's not like the be all end all. You know, again, I've told you guys this, that none of us are going to win the race. And, you know, I hate to break it to all of you that we're not going to be the winner of that race, and that's okay. It's just, I think planning ahead to know that we're doing this because we want to make ourselves better. We want to really think about why we run. We really want to think about what motivates us to run. So that's what we're going to talk about next week on Zoom. And we can all bring our favorite medal. But I think Melissa put out on Facebook today that she hasn't run in 9 days and she's really lacks motivation. And I think that we all have to really dig down to think, like, if our motivation really was that Akron medal, then that's not really kind of what this is all about. And so figuring out how to feel healthy, be healthy, put the right fuel in our body, really look at how we're training, why we're doing it. That's what we get to do this year. And the race is just going to be a bonus at some point in time. But for now, we have to just do things a whole lot differently. And that could be fun. We just, it's not great not knowing, and the uncertainty doesn't feel good, but maybe it's just this great opportunity to do something like totally different.
Well, there's two things that I want to bring up because Allison, hi Allison, wanted me to talk about streaking, running streaking tonight. Just real quickly, she had a couple questions, but also, I mean, I have access to ordering medals. So if it comes down to it and everybody in NeoFit, you know, does their own virtual race and we want to have somebody design a medal and it would be a half marathon, marathon, 5K, whatever, I would price out those medals. And if people were willing to pay for them, I would just charge cost and we could all still get medals for the races that we do.
That's good.
Good idea.
You know, because I think it would still be cool, and that would be a medal that nobody else but people in this group would have. So.
Okay.
We do have to remember, at least we get to run. I mean, at the end of the day, we are still running.
Right.
I think I couldn't say that better. I have a house full of medals I inherited, and you know, they were meaningful maybe in each event that was had, but the reality is it's your accomplishment, and the medal is a medal. It's great to have them, and it's a fun goal to have, but in the end, you remember the event, you remember the sights you saw, you remember the people you shared it with, maybe more than you remember the medal itself.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody saw one of our customers, Nikki Peeland. She teaches in Stowe, and she designed a marathon course where she ran past her students' house, or as many of her students' homes as possible. But I guarantee that is going to be the, you know, my wife just turned the lights on. She's wondering what I'm doing sitting in the dark, but I guarantee that's her most memorable marathon ever. You know, having all of her students out there with signs, you know, people knowing she was going to be running past their homes and going out and cheering her on. I mean, that was probably the best marathon she's ever done. So. All right, Allison, what you messaged me, and what can I answer for you this evening?
So I was saying, as I was saying, I was kind of inspired by your idea of trying to do at least a mile every day. And then just at the same time, I was thinking about that, the Runner's World came in with their front page article about doing streaks and had a little tally thing right on the front page that you could mark off as you went. So, but in reading the articles, they didn't really go into what they felt were the physical, mental benefits for running. They were talking about help with getting through divorces or whatever, and that wasn't what I wanted to know about because I'm still married.
Yeah, congratulations.
So what have you found, how has it affected your training or just your mental attitude or whatever?
I mean, I can tell you how my streak started, and I was at a race, because now my streak is just over 2 years. I think today was 743 days. And I really didn't, like, for a while, I really haven't trained for anything. I kind of just did it off of base fitness. And that race was a real humbling experience. I mean, I got passed by a lot of people and which is fine. It wasn't, it wasn't an ego thing. It was just the fact that I knew I was better than that. And so I was really frustrated with myself, and I just came back and I said, I'm never going to let that happen again. I'm never going to let the circumstances of a race be dictated by my lack of being prepared. So numerous times, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Arthur Lydiard, but he's a well-recognized running coach. He coached many Olympians back in the 70s and 80s. And he has a training plan where you run every day, no hard effort workouts. And from week 1, which is a total of 11 miles, to week 10, you build up to running 100 miles a week. So years ago, I scratched all my philosophies on speed workout, and I said, I'm going to do this linear descent to 100-mile weeks. I built up to, and it's every day, and all single runs, so no doubles. And I was probably 28 or 29 at the time, and I did no speed work, and I built up to this 100-mile week. And then the next week I went out, and at the end of a 10-mile run, I ran a 450 mile. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, I didn't do any speed work. All I did was this streak, and easy effort, never really taxing my body, never feeling like I was exhausted, and really paying attention to keeping, consistent heart rate. So, so I did that. So when I came back from that race, I did the Lydiard descent 100-mile weeks, and then I just never stopped. And I just kept streak. And then it was just a mindset, and it takes a little bit of obsessive compulsive disorder. People have said, how have you done it? Because we've done road trips, we've flown to Arizona, I've gone to Colorado. And by setting that 1 mile minimum, what you typically find is you go out with the intention of doing a mile and you do 2 or 3. Just because, I mean, that's just how it usually works out. But, I don't know that necessarily it's, for everybody, but for me, it's kind of wired me into a state of focus and a level of commitment that I was kind of lacking when it came to my fitness. There you go, Jeff. Nice job.
Yeah, no problem. I also looked up some of his training mechanism. It's a strange way to spell Lydiard, so I'm glad I found it.
So I think this is something that I want to talk more about next week too. I know we're going kind of late tonight.
Yeah,
but
I'm
that
sorry.
whole idea of motivation and what it is that sparks something. So I think Kevin Yee, he had the same, it was like, is it a Thanksgiving to Christmas thing where like you do 1 mile a day? And he just kept going and kept going. And he's done this since 2015, and he's flown to China, and he's still he's still got a mile in or more than that. So what is it that sparks something in somebody to do that? I think that we all need to ask ourselves those questions. What is it? Is it a schedule that, you know, just like getting up and going to work, you have a routine and that's just part of what you do. Somehow you must make it a priority in your day. And then when your priorities get all shifted around, how does it still rise to the top? You know, and I think that those are the really hard questions. And maybe some people's personalities lend themselves to it. So maybe Vince, it's OCD, or we all have maybe our own, I don't know, the thing that you're just kind of addicted to, you know, maybe for other people, it's reading a good book before you go to bed. It's not moving your body in a mile, you know, but we all probably have something that we do. And it's just, this is going to be a great time for us to kind of figure out what that is and how we capitalize on it.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, through the streak, there's been, you know, definitely some days where, and the other thing is on this whole streak, I've only run on my treadmill once. So I've only run indoors once. And yeah, like Brenda was saying, I think for me, it kind of just sets the tone of, you know, how I start my day. You know, you have your coffee in the morning, and then, you know, I'm lucky in that, you know, I can get out early and go for a run, and that's just my everyday normal.
And we'll dive more into Vince's psyche about what it is that drives you. Is it because you've been using Strava too? So there's some time part of that, like Vince, I can't imagine the pressure on your shoulders, right? Because what happens when you break that streak?
I'll just blame Strava.
But really thinking about it from the perspective of that accountability with it, you know, your runs aren't just that you're seeing it, your whole network of people on Strava are seeing it. And so then that's a whole other layer of kind of accountability.
Yeah. And I have to be clever with how I name my runs too. So that's a lot of pressure too. So
So I think these are all things we have to think about when we look at, you know, sometimes posting on Facebook doesn't make you feel good. Sometimes posting on Strava doesn't make you feel good. And I know, Andrea, you had kind of worried about joining Strava and that kind of social pressure, or that, I don't know, whatever you want to call that. Hopefully in our closed group, nobody feels that way. If you go out and you have a really, you know, bad run, no one's going to say like, oh my gosh, she clearly was walking in the middle of that run. Like, we're in a supportive group. But if you start to feel that pressure of, oh, I can't let anybody else see this, it was so bad, then that's not good either. So it's balancing
it's that, and also just the whole idea of running for fun versus running for competition. And I'm trying to remember to run for fun, because I do like running for fun and taking pictures and enjoying the thing, because, you know, there's nothing wrong with competition, but it won't keep me running. Running for fun will keep me running for the rest of my life.
Well, and that's the other thing about with the streak is knowing what the run that day holds. Like, am I going to take the run today as an opportunity to, you know, take pictures, or, you know, plan a new route, that kind of stuff. So I don't know, for me, it's just something, you know, that if I was feeling like it was causing, you know, me to break down or overuse injuries, I would, you know, I wouldn't do it. But for me, it's kind of carved out something at this point in my life that makes me feel good. So I'm rolling with it.
And, you know, that's my whole goal with this group, is that we're all doing some kind of healthy activity that makes us feel more healthy. And that doesn't mean that you have to run a marathon to be healthy. It just means that you've created some kind of habit in your life that's healthy, and running is a really cool habit to have. So, you know, I think that that's how we have to look at things, if with so much uncertainty coming into the fall and thinking like, is this event going to be there or not? Because if it's not there, it doesn't matter. We can still be healthy with what we're doing. So, all right, I know we've gone like way over. Does anybody else have any questions or things that they want to discuss in the future?
I think I want at some point want to discuss like nutrition, like more specifically, like I don't know, macros, carb intake, glycogen, things like that. Like I was going to ask that question. Don't think we have enough time for it now.
We can definitely do something more about that.
I
Andy,
do
your kids
notice.
are really cute too.
What's that?
Your kids are really cute.
Oh, you saw my munchkin jump up on my lap.
Uh-huh.
Vince, I see you run on Initiation Hill a lot, and every time I run on Initiation Hill, there's that keep out sign on the very bottom of the hill that someone spray painted. What do you make?
It's fake news.
Okay.
I did it once just this weekend and I went, this is unfun Initiation Hill. It's like, you know, and I was also laughing because it's Riverview Road, isn't it, Brenda?
It's old Akron Peninsula Road.
Oh, dang it. Because everything's old Riverview Road around there.
Well,
But I did do it once, and when I don't know how he did this 8 times or whatever you did that weekend, I was like, this is not because it's hard, because it is hard, but it's also unscenic.
Yeah, last Tuesday, and we can end on this, but so I did Initiation Hill 11 times. And then on Wednesday, I did Oak Hill Road 11 times. And then to get the 40,000 feet of elevation for the month, I went back to Initiation Hill on Thursday and did it 11 times again. And then if you take from Monday through Thursday, I did a total of 46 hill repeats. And I don't know why. And today I pulled into the parking lot at Valley Picnic area and I said, just go run normal. And what did I do? I did 10 hill repeats. So
trained yourself to do hill repeats.
Now, and yesterday, you know, the green trail as you leave the small parking lot there on 82.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that hill climb up from the bottom. I did that 12 times yesterday.
All right, we don't all have to be like Vince, but
no, but I don't know why. Like, I'm really trying to figure out why I can't get away from these hill repeats. So maybe people do some research and try to help me by next week so that I can run the towpath.
We'll go more in depth into Vince's odd psyche and why he runs hill repeats. So
thank you.
I also love seeing all the pets. Carrie, your dog, is like super happy, and I saw you petting her a lot. So, and then Craig, I saw your cat. So these are all really awesome things. And Bear joined us earlier today. So
he's 6 feet apart.
I'd also like to say that Mark Paul like fell into the water and then briefly appeared. He's been gone for about an hour.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering if he's eating popcorn because that sounds good. But so, all right, you guys, this is really good. And, you know, the store is opening. Was that Tuesday next week?
Next Tuesday. Yep.
Tuesday, but appointments on Wednesday.
Everything will be posted, including the messaging to our customers as far as, you know, what to expect when coming to the store. So.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Now Terry's dog. All right. Aw, so cute.
When your store opens, should we all drive by beeping our horns and holding out a sign?
No, it's not my birthday. So no, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Well, it was good chatting with everybody. And if you have any other questions about hydration systems and stuff, Vince will entertain any of your questions.
Yep, no doubt about it.
All right. Good job tonight, Vince.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.